Hi, I'm Lynda from Banjos Bead House and welcome to our how-to video on stringing a necklace or bracelet and finishing it with wire guardians. So in this video, as I've said, you'll be learning the basic techniques of how to actually use jewelry wire to create a necklace or a bracelet. The technique is the same, all that is different between the two is the length of the piece that you'll be working on. So I'm going to show you a couple of tricks on how you can measure for your wrist and how you can measure for your necklace length as well. But first of all, let's go through the supplies that you're going to need for this video. So first of all, you're going to need some beads, you'll need some jewelry wire, you'll need wire guardians, you'll need some crimps, a clasp, some jump rings, a bead stopper as an optional thing. You'll also need some pliers, a cutter, and as a helpful addition to that would also be a tape measure or a ruler. So I'm going to switch you guys to the overhead camera and I'm going to walk you through what some of those supplies are. So the first one is jewelry wire. Now we like working with the Beadalon brand here at Banjos, so it's our go-to wire. Basically you have three different options in their range, good, better and best. For what I'm doing today, the 19 or the 49 strand is your better option. Pick the one that works best for your budget. Particularly though when I'm working with stone like I am today, I'd always try and go for the 49 strand wherever possible, just because it's got more kink resistance and more flexibility, which is best when working with heavy stone. But 19 strand you could do. The 7 strand for this I probably wouldn't do just because of the weight of the beads. It's going to cause some extra kinks, which is not so great. So bead wise, I'm using some lovely 10mm lapis lazuli today. So I've already started threading some over here. So I've only got a couple beads left to go, but you'll just need some beads of your choice. You'll need some wire guardians. So these little guys here are wire guardians. They look like little horseshoes. I'm just going to hold one up so you can see. Looks like a tiny little horseshoe. Basically with this you thread in from one side, up, over and then back down. And what that does is it protects your wire whilst you are finishing your piece. So your jump ring will go through here and will never actually touch the wire, or if you thread directly this through a clasp, again it will never touch the wire, and that helps to protect your wire, hence why it's called a wire guardian. You will also need a tiny little thing called a crimp. Now this little guy is tiny, tiny, tiny. He's kind of up there with the size 15 seed beads in terms of tiny. But this little brass crimp is what's going to hold your entire piece together when you're done. So that's a crimp. Today I'm using a magnetic clasp, so I've just got a 10mm magnet, and I'm using a couple of jump rings. So that's all the basics in terms of materials. In terms of tools that you'll need to cut your wire, you'll just need a pair of cutters. So flush cut is one way to go. Then my personal preference is the Zerons. You will need 2 pairs of pliers. Now whether you use a chain nose, flat nose or bent nose, you can use any combination of these. These are going to be used for opening and closing the jump rings. And I am going to show you the round nose pliers. Now there's a little trick involving these which we'll get to in a little while. Okay, so and the other little tool I said was a bead stopper. So I'm working off our main roll of wire here, so it's our shop roll. So I've threaded all of my beads, as you can see, onto the roll. If you've cut your beads off the wire in advance, you might want to put a bead stopper on one end so that as you're threading, your beads literally won't come off your wire, hence it's acting as a stopper. With the kids, we refer to this guy as Mickey Mouse because he kind of looks like Mickey when you look at him in that view. To use a bead stopper, you just simply squeeze the ears together and then thread back through. So it's really nice and easy, and it's a great little tool to have in your stash, particularly if you are working on a roll. You can simply leave that in place to hold it. Okay, so how do we actually string with our jewelry wire? Well, it's very, very easy. You don't need a needle. This is thick enough. I'm using the 0.18018 inch or 0.46mm thick wire. So this will go back through 1mm holes quite nicely. If you're doing things like freshwater pearls, you may want to drop down in scale of your wire. But for most things, this will be fine. So it's a simple matter of just threading on, and I only had 2 beads left to go. And I did say I'd talk to you guys about how to measure your length. A standard costume jewelry necklace, which is what this is going to be, is 45 centimeters. So I string on about 43 centimeters of beads. If you're doing a bracelet, that's where it gets a little tricky, and you will need to measure for each person. If you're doing this for yourself right now, you could just test it, try it on, leave a 2 centimeter gap, and that should work. If you're not, and you're making it for someone else and you need to get some measurements, tape measure is really, really good, or use a piece of string. You know, secretly get it around their neck or around their wrist, and then go take it away and use it as a guide. If you are measuring on a wrist, the best thing to do is get it where you want the bracelet to sit. Slide 2 fingers under the tape measure as I've just done. That allows room for the actual depth of the beads. Otherwise, if you do it nice and tight, it's actually not going to work. So that's my tip if you're using your tape measure for that. Okay, so how do we actually convert this strand of beads now that's on jewellery wire into a necklace? Well, the first thing we're going to do is pick up one of our tiny little crimps. Now I'm just threading him through the jewellery wire, and you can use the jewellery wire as a needle just to pick one up. So I've got one crimp on. And then we're grabbing our wire guardian. Oops, if I can get him around the right way. And we are just threading through, as I said, through one side, up, over, and down. Now, I like to leave a generous tail, and that's what this is. That way, if I need to go and alter the bracelet or the necklace at a later date, I've got a little bit of wire to work with without having to restring the entire thing. Now, that can happen when, you know, you break a bead and you need to remove it, or if you simply want to add another bead along the way, now I'll have an extra little piece of wire. So I've threaded that back through, and I've also gone back through the crimp, as you can see here. So my wire is now nice and firmly held in place here with that crimp. Now to complete that job, that's where I need a pair of pliers. So chain nose or bent chain nose is best for this. And you just want to get that crimp as close to the wire guards as possible and just flatten. And that's all you need to do. Now there's enough room there that I can put a crimp cover on afterwards, and that'll be in another video. If you want to use the curling crimp technique, you are more than welcome, but I like the flat crimp technique because it does allow me to go and remove crimps if I need to make those adjustments. Now it's just a simple matter of threading that wire that we left as our tail back through all of our beads. So I'm doing that now. So you just want to have that wire nice and hidden. Okay, one more bead to go. And oops, nearly went. And now my tail is gone. So now I can pull the rest of my beads across my wire and get to the end of the other end of my wire. So I'm just going to cut a healthy tail of about that long. So it's probably in the realm of about 10 centimeters. And again, this is with the wire guards. I like to back thread through. There are other finishing techniques where you use less wire, and that'll be covered in another video. So just as we did the first time round, we're picking up our crimp and threading him through. And a point I will make at this point, you want to make sure your crimp does not go into the hole of your bead. So my bead hole is sufficient that the crimp is not falling in there. If he is falling in, you will need to either put a tinier bead with a smaller hole, or you can pierce a hole, thread through with a piece of paper and stop your crimp. And that is a technique I will demo on another video. So stay tuned for that one. But these are all tips and tricks just to get you started. And again, threading through the base of the wire guard, up, over, and back through. And back through my crimp. Trying to make sure you guys can actually see that. Okay, nice and tricky. So this time, rather than pulling up there and closing off the wire, we're actually going to bury the tail of the wire first. If I went and closed off there, you're going to have this huge gap of wire here, and nobody wants that in their necklace. So we are just going to bury our way through some wire, just adjusting to get some of that length down as we go. See, that size hole there might have eaten my crimp, so we've been very careful when we're selecting our stone beads, so I didn't have to deal with a crimp going into a hole. But that's just one of the things you learn as you go. Okay, so we've got about 5 beads through, and I can gently pull that wire through. Now, to get this so it is really nice and tight, but not too tight, because a lot of people will do this and keep it on the straight, but we don't wear necklaces on the straight. So my trick is to take the end and give it a little bit of a curl. So in that gentle spiral, you're giving the beads room to be on a curve, which is how we wear our necklaces. So a bit harder on a bracelet, but it's certainly achievable on a necklace, because the last thing you want to do is put your beads under pressure and you break a bead, or worse, you snap your wire, and it has happened. So my little trick here is using my round nose pliers. I've just settled that into the wire guard. Now, the reason I use my round nose pliers is they have a nice curve to them, as does this wire guard, and I don't want to distort the shape of the wire guard as I pull on this wire. So I'm going to grab with my chain nose pliers here and just give that a little tug just to tighten that wire all the way through to make sure it is nice and tight, but retaining the ability for the beads to move and have some flexibility in the round. So from there, we just simply grab that little crimp and we flatten just like we did last time. Next steps, just to finish off, is with your flush cutters and the flush side towards your work, you just want to cut away that piece of jewellery wire so there's no sign of that tail. And there, in effect, is your finished necklace ready for a clasp. Now, as I said in this video, I'm using a magnetic clasp. You can use a toggle or a lobster or a sliding clasp. It's entirely up to you. But in this instance, we're doing a magnet. The process for putting on all clasps is fairly similar. You will use a jump ring, which is what I have in front of me here. And this is a closed one. So I'm going to twist that from front to back, so towards me and away from me. You never want to pull it this way. You'll break the roundness of the ring and it's not going to close properly. So you always go split it that way. And we're just going to thread on our magnet. Okay, and twist that close. So that's one side done. We're going to grab our other jump ring. Now you always want to look for the little opening, which is why I'm twisting it around. So it's open, on, thread through. Which is always a tricky part with some magnets because they don't like the curve. Because again, straight hole and you're good dealing with a curve. All little things is just do a little wiggle. Okay, and close, and voila, we're done. So very, very simply, the stringy part obviously takes a little bit longer, but that is how quickly you can make, with jewellery wire, a beautiful strand of beads into a necklace or bracelet. The technique is the same, it's just the length that's the difference. So I hope that helps you guys get on your way with making necklaces and bracelets. It's not as scary as it seems. Magnets are fantastic because they pop open really, really easily. So if you've got somebody with arthritic fingers or just issues trying to use lobster clasp, or if you've got parents with very young children, they're also great because you don't get that whole tug. The piece just comes away. With a bracelet, I would recommend putting a safety chain through each of the jump rings as you're going, just so it acts as a little bit of a catch. But with a necklace, you're generally safe. You feel it fall off if it does fall off. So I hope this gets you started on your lovely journey of making necklaces and bracelets. And stay tuned for more how-to videos from Banjos Bead House. Bye for now.